Namaste. Today, I have with me David Joseph. I know David since from 2020 onwards. He's been into healing, personal healing. He has a profound experience in ayahuasca treatment methods, and he himself have a very good experienced person uh, experiencing ayahuasca. So today we'll just go check it out with David and find out his experience, which he had uh, with ayahuasca, and he currently lives in Amazon, the place of ayahuasca. And I also have to specifically wants to check with him any connections he found, especially when he's living and interacting with the Amazon tribes who deals with ayahuasca. If you remember, if we just go back to my previous podcast, I was just connecting the dots where Agastya Muni and South American connections and their beliefs of having some saints taught them herbs medicine, Muligagal. So let's find out from David's what's his experience and what's his experience interacting with the tribes across Amazon and his experience in ayahuasca. And all together, David. Here we go. So, David, I'm so thrilled because you are living in Amazon forest, in middle of Amazon forest, and you are a more divine person. I remember that you we have connected in way back in 2020 regarding
Yeah,
some kind of healing kind of a thing. At the time, you were in Austin, I think.
yeah,
You and your wife jointly had some kind of a healing process, some kind of a thing, and you have connected me over Facebook, right? And yeah, now here we are, and we are talking about spirituality, ayahuasca, and stuff like that. I have already made a video with Stephen Maeda, who also lived like you in South America with some kind of a
beautiful.
tribes, right? And he found a lot of experience connecting dots with Eastern culture, especially the Hinduism and the culture where he was part of it, right? So I also like you to talk if you have that kind of a connectivity which you found where anywhere of your people whom you were interacted in the Amazon. That is number one, and number two is your full-fledged ayahuasca experience, because according to me, the explanation about ayahuasca is something like, it's a tool. See, in yogi culture, it's a very complex tool for self realization, right? I have experienced myself. It's a long painstaking tool, and you should be under the guru, and it should be practiced for years to get that kind of a full-fledged universal bliss, right? Ayahuasca is kind of a shortcut where you can, it's God has been so kind, especially somebody who is non Indian mindset, they can also get into this kind of a connectivity with the God, universal consciousness. So ayahuasca, according to me, is a shortcut to get there. You know. So let's start with this. I already gave a introduction, a small introduction about you, David. And why don't you add to it, and then we'll go into the questions and we'll have a fantastic chat.
Yeah, first off, I appreciate the opportunity for this. It's beautiful what you're doing. I love seeing
Thank
people
you.
that are stepping into something that's just creating an opportunity for these messages to get out there. So thank you for staying connected through my journey. I've had a really, really unique path, a really unique experience. So I always want to start off with saying my experience is what I've learned. It's really unique to my path, and it's okay if it resonates. It's okay if it doesn't. And ayahuasca, it's funny too. I want to start with, I'm reading an amazing book series called Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. Beautiful, beautiful book series. And it's in alignment with a bit what I'm going through with ayahuasca. And then wife at the time had severe autoimmune diseases. We tried everything to help her heal. Nothing worked in the world. And then we found ayahuasca. Long story short, ayahuasca goes to the deepest parts of these. We have a conscious mind, subconscious, and unconscious. Physical body, emotional body, spiritual body, where a lot of the ancestral trauma and things lie. Ayahuasca goes right to those deep unconscious layers. She healed all her autoimmune diseases over a period of years of working with it. And then I found a deep calling. And again, it's really unique, but the first time I ever sat with ayahuasca, I felt like I had some kind of connection to it. I didn't understand what it was. And I had a lot of self-doubt. I was this white boy from a farm in Oklahoma. Yeah. So I was like, there's no way. But then I ended up I kept working with ayahuasca, and I found my first teacher, a beautiful Colombian teacher who saw something in me and said, you have a connection with this. So I started training in Colombia. I started meeting his teachers, did some initiation work in the Amazon jungle, working with them. And again, after years of doing this, I was initiated to serve the medicine. And I came back to the States and I saw all this divine healing in people, and I wanted to help people heal like that. So I began serving the medicine in the States. And I just saw, I've seen autoimmune diseases healed, depression, anxiety, insomnia, all kinds of different things. And I began to go dive into my spiritual path. And this is where it doesn't have to resonate with everyone. Because I don't talk a lot about this publicly unless people ask about it. But since you're asking about my path, mine really is finding the balance between the harmony of everything that is, but also directly facing concepts of spiritual warfare. Everyone has different gifts. Everyone has different spiritual abilities. Purpose. One of mine began to open up very early, where I'm able to sense when there's demonic entities in people and pull and transmute them out. It's a form of exorcism used in ayahuasca. So that really took me off. Once I started learning about that, once ayahuasca took me in, she put me through some really difficult training, really difficult stuff. But once I continued to follow with discipline and staying very humble, humbleness is essential on the path. She kept bringing me in and showing me the light and darker side of the realities and what people are dealing with, light and dark. And I continued my training, continued learning, and I went through a big transition about 6 months ago. The details of that don't matter, but I left something that was very, very unhealthy for me. Once I did leave that, I felt called to come spend months in the Amazon with this amazing elder. He's with the Inga tribe, and he's a master, and I've been living on his land, learning from him for months. I'll be out here for another month, continuing to learn, and he continue to grow and expand with him in this path. And then I'll be going back to the States to continue serving in April. But from the spiritual path, it's actually been more, not so much around deities as she's brought me deeper into myself and my own direct connection with God. So everyone has their own way, their own path. Mine has consistently led me to my own direct connection, staying humble, coming to ayahuasca when there's things I'm missing and I'm not seeing outside of my own awareness. She always shows it to me uncomfortably when I'm missing something. So continuing to work with that medicine. And I've also found I have a lot of Native American. I knew my mom's side's Native American, the Choctaw. So I found I have some Native American roots that are starting to tie into a little bit of the medicines I work with.
See, the Linga tribes, which you were talking about, right? So I really feel that they have a connectivity, because I've done a lot of videos about that connecting the dots of the ancient Hindu sages traveled across the world and civilized the people, especially on the herb side. It is clearly mentioned in our scriptures that there is a sage called Agastya Muni who just traveled across South America. And specifically, even the shamans and even the native tribes of South America, they believe that there is a sage who came from the east, descended, and he civilized the people, and taught them spirituality and the herbal medicines. So this Agastya Muni, according to us, is a father of um, mysticism and father of this herbal medicines. So do you in your interaction with Ingas, because the word Ingas itself is related to lingas of
Mm.
Hinduism, right?
Mm.
So do you felt any kind of a connectivity in their lifestyle with the ancient Hindu or Hinduism?
In the sense of how they are so beautifully connected to the present moment, I
Mhm,
would
mhm,
say the most, because I have a dear, dear soul sister that I've learned so much from, and she calls me her teacher, but I've learned so much from her. Her name is Sanika Prabhu,
mhm,
and she dove pretty deep into the ayahuasca path too. I've served her ayahuasca many times, and I've loved learning. Something has really drawn me
mhm,
to the Indian mysticism and all of the stories she would tell me. So it's always really connected with me more than actually personally, more than
mhm,
like Catholicism, more than Christianity. I have some ties there with Yeshua, Jesus, and I work with Archangel Michael a lot. But the Hindu, it's always really intrigued me and called to my heart. There's a
mhm.
really amazing teacher too that they say Jesus learned from Babaji. Jesus learned from
Initiated,
Babaji,
initiated.
and
Yeah,
Babaji's story is incredible, and the
yeah, yeah.
stories about
I'm
his
initiated
his
through same traditions.
oh my
Really.
gosh, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
beautiful. So I've always been very drawn to learning more about Babaji, and it ties in with a book during my path that came to me, Autobiography of a Yogi. That
Mhm.
really opened my mind so much more. And the teachings of the masters of the Far East also talks about how these masters went to the Far East to learn
Right.
how people have this. And it's so much, I love how it's about balance. It's so
Mhm.
much about the balance. You know, some go super hardcore into, which is fine. It's fine where everyone has their own path into like putting themselves into like an ashram and just staying in there. Some people are way tied into the world. But in
Mhm.
teachings of the Far East, it talks so much about that balance. But to answer
Right.
your question, yes, in the sense of how present they are with the moment, how kind and loving they are just naturally, and how connected to the plants and the earth they are.
The universal love altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, David. See. Okay, coming to that initiation part. Here in Austin, you have a place where you can get initiated into Babaji traditions. Just for your information.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah. So there is a same lineage of Yogananda. The same lineage is
What?
followed. Yeah, you
Oh,
have
I'm
an
so
option.
interested.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah. So coming back. So where it all started, David? Do you think that you had some connection, some kind of karmic connections before? You said there is some kind of a call where your shaman was telling you, right? And you have a connection. So did you felt this kind of a things from the very beginning, or you had some kind of a reason call that you have to get into spirituality, something different from the Western way of life?
I've always felt different. I've always felt different. Um,
Mhm,
and the first time I ever drank ayahuasca, something deeply said, "This is your path." But
mhm,
I had too much self doubt at the time to believe it. But I've always felt different, yes. And God's always put me in some kind of leadership positions, whether it's with like wrestling or the Marine Corps, or in places that I've worked. And then when it was time for me to step into this path, he put me with a partner that needed really deep healing to show
mhm.
me the way of healing, to start to learn that. But
That's a
I've always
virtue.
I've always felt something different, and then the
Mhm,
ayahuasca called immediately when I first connected with her.
mhm. So, to my audience, David, it's more of a predominantly Indian audience. So, for them, Can you explain like what is this ayahuasca and where it is available and what the shaman does is and what is your experience, how you spiritually uplifted and how your life is transformed?
So ayahuasca is a very ancient plant medicine that's only found in the Amazon jungle, a specific part of the Amazon jungle. What the indigenous teaching is, they call it the grandmother. And we're very conditioned in the Western world to think if I take this pill, this happens. If I drink this, this happens. It's not the way with ayahuasca. It's a divine spirit. And when you experience it, you'll know. So I've said in hundreds of ceremonies, every single one is different because the spirit, there is a consent. When you drink ayahuasca, you consent to open yourself up, all your layers, your ancestry, everything, and she works with you and shows you what you need to see. So everyone's experience is going to be different, but it's only found in the Amazon. And for me, the way I've personally been able to, and I don't say this from an egoic, but my path, I've expanded very quickly along this path. It's not as normal to expand that quickly. For me, it's been a combination of staying very, very humble. You have to stay a student the whole time, no matter what. Stay a student, stay humble, and continue to dive into your own shadows. Continue to see where you can grow. Continue to, because we all have them. We all have layers. We all have shadows. We all have things within us. And the Maya, the great illusion, will give you unlimited distractions all the time. It'll give you anything to blame externally. And I'm not judging that, but
And
for
your ego will pull you downwards while you
yep,
go up.
and
So
yep, and
it's all about Mother Kundalini. That is what you're talking about, according to us.
okay,
So
okay,
it's other way. Ayahuasca is another way of interpreting Mother Kundalini. She is the
beautiful.
mother.
Yes, the mother. That's right. The indigenous consider ayahuasca the blood of Mother Earth.
Hmm. Prithvi Tattva. Yes,
Yep. And then when you start on the path, you can't hide anything. You're naked. She sees your
exactly,
heart. She sees your
exactly.
intention. And my heart was true. I still had a lot of work to do on myself, but my heart was true of wanting to help people. So she took me through all the challenges of working on myself and continued to show me how to work with the medicine to help people, but continue to
So
dive into being humble and your own shadows.
correct. First the toxin comes out,
Yes,
then the nectar. That is what
that's right.
exactly written in Hinduism. While the
Exactly.
Kundalini mother is awakening.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, David, what is the okay? You had some kind of a spiritual upliftment happen, right? Once you introduced this, and what was your experience through while having this ayahuasca, and what are the ceremonies, how they do it, and how long it would go, how your chakras and nadis gets open, what is your vision at that time, whether it is like light or what just give me some idea, because I've gone through similar kind of an experience through a yogic perspective. So now I want my audience to know the same experience through ayahuasca experience through you.
So every experience is different, but I'll give you an example of some of my most powerful experiences.
Hmm.
Um, so they have this thing happen sometimes. It's called a rebirth ceremony. And the ceremony is usually 8 to 12 hours. There's a shaman that has been trained and knows how to work with the medicine and sings icaros, which are very sacred songs. They sing
Hmm.
sacred songs throughout the ceremony. And the songs work with the medicine on working on each person. 8 to 12 hours, and each time is just going to different layers of yourself. Now, I'll give you an example of a rebirth. This is a very uncomfortable, but the most expansive that I've experienced anyway. And I've only had this happen 2 times. One was one of my first Amazon jungle experiences like 5 or 6 years ago. And the other one was after I left. I had a really transformative chapter 5 months ago, and I left something very unhealthy. My first ceremony here in the Putumayo, my teacher brought me to his teacher, a much old, like elderly master, abuelo they call him, in the Amazon. And in this one, all your tools of breath work, all your tools of centering, all your faith goes out the window. Like the medicine goes to the deepest layers of you, and it breaks you down to your core. You have to let go in your mind of every attachment that you care about and you love. So it broke down, it had me let go, and it's incredibly uncomfortable physically, because the medicine's going and cleansing every cell, every toxin, anything in your body, and it's showing you all your attachments, and it's making you in your mind. It's like you and ayahuasca, you're in a different dimension. You don't feel like you're here, and she's showing you these things you have to let go of, and showing you to have a deeper faith in the creator, deeper faith in creator, as if literally the creator's telling you in this moment. It's hard to explain, but it's telling you in this moment, if you were to die right now, I need you to find peace in death right now. And showed me all the things that would make me not find peace in death because I love this person or I'm doing this. And it just goes until you've let go of once you let go of every attachment, and the deepest part of you surrender to death as if it's happening. What I would call it is, this sounds, I don't know how much I can, it's basically like a cosmic orgasm is what you would call it. It's not like, it's every cell in your body expands. It's the most pure bliss you could ever imagine. Your mind expands. It's all these colors, beautiful colors, and your whole body feels in the deepest level of God's love and bliss in every single cell of you almost can't handle it, because it's so much love and bliss for like an hour of just this extreme. And then when you come back, you're different. You've let go of these attachments. You have this deep knowing and sense of a deeper knowing and sense of what God's love feels like, and why we can't experience all of it because it's too much for us to handle in human form.
David, I can't imagine how I can compare this with Kundalini experience, the Kundalini awakening experience. This is exactly what it is. What you said is. This is what it is, and it's like a metamorphosis. You know what you
Yes.
call it.
Metamorphosis. Yes.
Yeah. So you will just come out of it, and you will come out as new. Rebirth. That is what
Yes.
exactly our scripture also says. You just first they just described it as a churning of ocean, where
Yeah.
the first the toxins, everything comes out, then there is a maintenance work. I myself experienced this way back in 2013 through different yogic practices. Anyway, it's good to know that it is the same thing, across the world. It's all talking about the Kundalini, Mother Kundalini. Anyway, so now coming back to that spiritual environment of ayahuasca. So why the West is more attracted to these kind of things these days, according to you? Even there are a lot of yogis come to India and learn their spiritual practices. Why do you think that there is a lot of interest, especially in the past 10 years, from Western society?
Western society, my personal opinion is because there's so much trauma, there's so many sick people, and the major programs in the West are not helping people. The medical system is completely backwards,
Collapse.
and people are getting to such a low point that they're willing to try anything, because there's a lot of fear around plant medicine, especially ayahuasca. There's a lot of conditioned fear from a lot of the indoctrinated religions, a lot of the major systems, but people are getting so sick that they're willing to try anything. So now they're hearing about all this beautiful healing and they want to experience it. And I think everyone has a deep, whether they're aware of it or not, everyone has a deep calling for something more connected, something more in their spiritual body. In the Western world, there's very little practice of spirituality. It's very suppressed. It's not very highly looked upon. And the spirituality that is heavily prevalent in the West that I've noticed is more like putting things into a box, into a religion that you have to follow this way. And it's conditioned with a lot of shame and guilt if you don't,
Mm.
and we're human. Like, so you
Sure.
take a human element of making mistakes or whatever, or having feelings or
Mhm.
whatever, and there's all this guilt and shame around certain teachings of religion in the West. It gets to a point where people want something different and they're willing to try something different, and they hear the
Mhm.
true stories about the healing.
Okay, all right. So, David, I remember way back in 2020 when we were just connecting, you were doing some kind of a healing process here in the US, right? So, are you still into that? Those kind of a healing process where if somebody wants to sign up, maybe I can give you links and stuff like that, right? In the description.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually do a lot of private stuff now. So I flew out to California. I did a private ceremony for this really beautiful 70-year-old lady with cancer. When I
Mhm.
get back, I have 2 group retreats that people have set up for me. They're flying me into Florida for a 4-day one. I'm flying into Salt Lake. So now I have a lot more freedom. So I fly all around the country when people feel the call of healing. I fly to them. I do private stuff and I do small groups. So I still work with the medicine, and I'll be back in the States in April.
April? Okay. All right. So before I close, David, do you want to say something to my small audience?
Yeah. The message I like to get across is you can heal from anything. There's nothing you can't heal from. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You can heal from anything.
It's a
And
matrix.
as beautiful as everything is out here, all our expansion comes from inside, going within us.
Yeah. Even I was just telling this in my previous podcast. There was a case of Anida Murjani, which you would be knowing. She just wrote a book about it, about her NDA experience, right, near death experience, wherein she was on at this. I think when she was having that out of body experience, she was in stage 4 or 5 cancer, and when she came back to her body, she's like fresh rebirth.
Beautiful.
So I was just telling that in my previous podcast. So it's all a metrics, the disease, what you see, and all these things are a metrics. So anyway, that's not our this one. So for today, David, I like to thank you from bottom of my heart that you've been in that kind of an environment and you just found some time for me to talk about your experience. I really appreciate that. David, maybe this is not the end, and we will definitely connect in future, and we'll discuss more things. Okay, thanks for today. Thank you very much, David.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for